Okay, welcome to my live. My name's Lisa. I'm a parenting coach. If you go to my website, it's BratBusters.com. You can get my free behavior board, my courses, my boot camp courses, one for toddlers, one for older kids. You can look into coaching if you want to work with me. And you'll send me your winter? No, I'm okay with that. Anyway, the courses are the 2 boot camp courses and also coaching. If you want to work with me, there is a wait list, but I'll get to that eventually. Or you can listen to the podcast. It's called BratBusters Parenting Podcast. It's on all the platforms, and we save it on YouTube. Okay, so yeah, we just haven't had any snow yet this winter. We don't always get snow here in Vancouver, but we usually get snow in the mountains, like that surround us, that are just to the north here. It's about a 20-minute drive up to the mountains and from downtown. And they've really been suffering too. So we just haven't had really much snow this winter. Like the mountains are all green. Usually they're white. Okay, so let's get going with your questions. I'll do my best to answer them. And so I've got Karen, Tracy, Constance, Nancy, Jessica, Melina, Germany. Welcome, Melina. Don't think I have any clients in Germany right now. You know, what's interesting about my job is when I'm talking to people all over the world, I learn a lot about their family life and their culture. So not just what you see like in the tourist sort of realm, but yeah, I learn a lot about the way they view family life and all that sort of stuff and different religions and cultures. It's fascinating. Hi, Alicia. My boyfriend and I have been struggling with my boys, but I'm looking forward to going through your videos. Oh, excellent. If you want it's almost like a book that, the way we've set it up. We did 7 podcasts in 7 days. It's on YouTube and it's on the playlist, and it's all the basic information with BratBusters. And one way to get men on board that women have told me is to show them the pool story. Men like that. It's fast. It's just one story. It explains how I treat children and the way I look at leadership. And the pool story, you can just Google BratBusters pool story. I've told it. There's tons of videos on it. So yeah, you can check that out. Oh, Austin, Alexa. Where I live, we have no mountains to block out the weather, so we get all sorts of wind and snow. Yeah, Vancouver's not a very cold climate. We do live right on the ocean. Like I'm just, short walk to the ocean here. But and downtown's all ocean. But then the mountains are right up north. So I guess we get the ocean breeze. But Vancouver Island blocks us from the main ocean, right? So we've got, what is that called when you've got an island then the mainland? So the waterway is not the open ocean. So I don't know. Why am I telling you that? It's not that interesting. Okay. This is Lenora. Do you have any anecdotes of when you messed up with consequences and what you would have done differently? I wouldn't do a lot differently because I think, we all mess up sometimes. And I think that's part of life. It's important that your kids see you mess up. But then do you have any anecdotes of when you messed up with the consequences and what you would have done differently? Not so much the consequences. If I did, my kids would have been all over that. They would have pointed that out. So my kids were very good at correcting me, which you want, right? You want that two-way street. So I can't think of consequences. What would I do differently? Nothing I can think of, to be honest. Not that I was perfect, but I think that it's important to show your kids that you're not perfect. So we had a pretty happy family. Yeah, no, I'll have to think about that. But what stupid things have I done as a parent? I've probably got lots of that, but nothing I really regret and nothing I would consider horrible. But I can't think of anything at the moment. But yeah, my kids would have been all over me. If I messed up somehow, they would have been on top of that and they would have got me to have a consequence. So yeah, they kept me in line. This is also on YouTube. Irene. Okay. Tucson, Arizona. What do I do about my daughter not answering questions and ignoring others? What am I missing? I don't want to force her. I don't know how old she is. I shouldn't have answered that because I don't know how old she is. If she's 2, ignore it. If she's 4, she's 6. Oh, she's old enough. Okay. So she's not answering questions and ignoring others. What am I missing? Ignoring others. You work on yourself initially, but is she ignoring the teacher? I would say I never address their attitude at home, okay, because that you just can't. But at school, if they're disrespecting the teacher, I would put on the behavior board, don't disrespect the teacher. It's a little bit different. It's a different relationship. So you can address attitude with the teacher. somewhere where they have to go. Like a teacher, they have to learn to at least show respect. They don't have to respect anybody, but they have to show it at school and follow the rules. So I would put that on there if she's also disrespecting the teacher. Otherwise, I'm not entirely sure what you mean. Does she answer your questions? If not, then it just means you're not a leader. Yeah. How can we navigate them correcting you without becoming tyrants? How can we navigate them correcting you without becoming tyrants? Oh, they just don't. When you're a leader, they don't disrespect you. I'll give you a good example of this. This is how I just love this back and forth with my kids. I've told this story many times. It's when they said they were 8 and 3. My son was 8. My daughter was 3. He was the spokesperson, and my daughter loved it. And so I said, they asked me to make some muffins. I hate cooking, by the way. And I made everything from scratch, too. You can imagine. Anyway, I just hated it. So they said, can you please make some muffins tonight? And I said, sure. Okay, no big deal. The next morning, they get up, Mom, you forgot to make muffins, because they wanted them for their lunch or something. I can't remember. So I said, oh, sorry. I promise I'll make muffins tonight. So this is a promise. They looked at each other and smiled. And I said, I'll promise. Anyway, so sure enough, I forgot. So they get up the next morning. They come in the kitchen. And there's two, and I knew I was in trouble because the way my son looked. They come in, she's all smiles, sit completely quiet. He's like this. And I said, oh no, what did I do? And he goes, remember last night you said, I promise I'll make muffins. I don't see no muffins. And I said, oh shoot, what do you want? He said, we talked about it. And she's like this, she's loving it. We talked about it. We decided we'd like to go to the water slide park after school today. So it was just funny. It was funny. So yeah, if they'd been rude, I probably wouldn't have had a consequence. You see, they wouldn't have come at me like that because I was a leader. So it was just funny. So we went to the water slide park. I have a PS and to that, an add-on to that story that I often tell in coaching. It just makes the story longer, but I think this is funny. One time this happened, and then my daughter whispered something to her brother, and then he's like this, and then he goes the way he's talking to me about this muffin thing, and he's trying to act all funny and cool. And so then he goes, oh, right, okay. And then he goes, yeah, oh. And another thing, when we go to the water slide park, we get to go down before you. Now, the reason they'd said that is the last time we'd gone, I told them that the rule is they had to stand behind the red line and wait for the person to tell them when to go down. Well, this was sort of a local, smaller water slide park. It was the wool store, the wool shed where we lived in Brisbane, in Australia. And it was just sort of a small, there wasn't always I don't even know if there was a lifeguard there. It was just a few water slides and a pool. Anyway, so I told them they had to stand behind the red line and wait for the attendant to tell them when to go down. While they're searching for the red line, that wasn't even there. I made it up. I ran in front of them and went suckers and went down the slide first. So that's why they said we get to go down the slide first time night. So it was fun. You want to find your inner child with kids. You want to learn to enjoy them. Now, because I had that real connection and fun going with them, it was harder for them to disrespect me because we were like friends too. But yeah, if they ever acted out, I was mom. I was the leader. So anyway, yeah, but you got to earn that. You got to work for that. Okay, that's sort of level 10 stuff with all this. You got to work to get there. And but once you're there, that's how it goes. I don't talk a lot about how I parented because I had leadership from day one, so kind of sailed through. What I'm teaching you here is how you get leadership. Getting it is hard work. You got to work for it. You got to earn it, right? But once you're there, it's a piece of cake. But it's hard work to get there. Why does my 19-month-old cry before nap and bedtime? Oh, because one thing, they're probably overtired, right? Also, they think they're going to miss out on something. That's why. The FOMO, fear of missing out, that's the two reasons. It's quite common. Don't worry about it. They'll be fine. Oh, I don't talk about teaching. I don't know anything about it. I teach parenting. A lot of my clients are teachers, and yeah, they struggle with parenting like I would struggle with teaching. Very different roles, very different. You handle children very differently as a teacher than you do as a parent. Some things cross over, but a lot doesn't. So, And a lot of teachers have said they bring a lot of my stuff into their classrooms, which does work, but they're smart enough to figure out what does and doesn't work, right? Hello, how do I respond? My 4-year-old yells, I hate you. I don't love you. When upset, just go, whatever. They're just trying to pull you in. They're trying to upset you. They're mad because they didn't get their own way, and now they're trying to upset you. Don't let them. Don't give them that power. Just, I hate you. You're awful. You stink. You, and they go, whatever. And then just go about your business. Completely ignore it. Once you're a leader, they don't talk to you like that, though. Never. In other words, don't buy into it. They're fishing, trying to fish hook you and pull you in. I always say, you stay on the high road, which is the calm road, and they're on the low, crazy road. You stay there, let them join you. Don't join them. If you address them on the low road, you're there. You're down there. That ladder's kicked out. You can't get back up there again. It's too late. Okay, good question. Can a child ever cross a line in potty training where it becomes a behavioral problem? Is it something you can discipline or ever add the behavior board? Nope. The reason it's a bodily function. You don't want to mess with that and treat it like bad behavior. Okay, I have a whole course. It's a whole system on how I potty train. It's a bodily function. We use the reward system, and we never. No, I don't even want to tell that story. When they get older and they start to use it against you, like, I'm going to poop in my pants if you don't do that. That's different. But even then, we're careful how we do it because it's a bodily function. I don't want to mix discipline with bodily functions. So yeah, I don't tend to treat it like a bad behavior. But they can use poop as a weapon. I'm going to poop my pants if you don't do this for me. If a kid said that to me, I think I'd be tempted to just go ahead. I'll poop my pants too to get back at you. They couldn't threaten me with that, but I have had that happen. That's not what we do. We do other stuff, but anyway. And also, once you're a leader, level 10, you get away with a lot more. Like, you can use sarcasm and humor, and they get it because they look up to you. So it's different, right? But when you're working to get there, be careful with that stuff. And my style is humor, so it works. You got to find your own style too. How do you shift parenting styles? Is it immediate? No. It is in a way. I'll explain that. I'm 25 with 4 kids under 6. Wow. And I want to be in more of a leader role. My kids can run the house sometimes. Okay. Does it happen? Oh, hi, Tabitha. Does it happen immediately? Sort of. You're not a leader immediately, but you can start becoming a leader with one behavior. The behavior board it's sort of the training wheels with all this stuff. The behavior board, you're dealing with one behavior, one battle, one rule per week. Okay, just one. And you can kind of master that. And that's the sign of your new leadership coming in. Then week 2, you have 2 behavior boards, 2 battles. Then week 3, you have 3. After that, you go and you deal with everything. That's the course, the boot camp course. But yeah, you can sort of become a leader with one rule, but everything else is kind of a bit of a crap show. So initially, it's like a lot of parents say, what do I do about all the other stuff? And I say, I don't know. We haven't got there yet. You only deal with one. That one behavior is the sign of your new leadership. We can't deal with anything else in the first week. And then they say, yeah, but all this other stuff's going on. I said, that's like saying, how do I fly the plane if you've only learned one dial? We're just focused on mastering that one dial, that one battle. Okay, and then you've learned how to do that. Then you can try another one. So now you got 2. I would deal with everything in day 1 because I'm already a leader. I'm level 10 because I invented all this stuff. We're not working on the kids here. We're working on you. And I always say to parents when they say, yeah, but my kids are out of control. And I always say this to my clients. I say, what do you think your kids would be like with me? Oh, well, I'm sure they'd be, So it's that you lead, they will follow. It's a natural instinct. They're drawn to a leader. A leader makes them feel safe. And a leader also increases their self-esteem, makes them feel good about themselves. Check out the pool story if you want to know more about that, how it is. It's a really good story. It explains how I treat children as a leader. It's called The Pool Story. You can just Google BratBusters pool story. It'll come up. I can't tell that story again. I'd self-destruct. I had to do it. I had to do it once a few weeks ago in a session with a client. I had to tell it because some other parent came in and they needed to hear it. But, oh, geez, it was torture having to tell that story. Just I've told it so many times. Even thinking about telling it. My daughter made me tell it in a podcast once too. She apologized. It's just such a good story because it says everything. The only thing I've never discussed in that story, which is funny because I can't believe it just seems so obvious to me that's why I didn't put it in. But the one thing I never put in any of my videos on the pool story is Why, when I saw that kid walking towards Whaley, why did I not try and stop him? Someone asked me that the other day. And I said, well, why would I do that? Like, to me, why would I do that? I never try and prevent bad behavior. I want them to walk right into it so then I can deal with it. So in other words, then I'm becoming a micromanager, a nagger. I'm bossy. You know, I want them to go. He saw me. Well, I sort of looked over like to let him know I saw him doing it. I wanted him to know that I saw him. And then go right ahead. Like, I didn't say anything. I just let it happen. Then I looked away, let it. As soon as they took Whaley in the pool, then I took action. He hadn't broken the rule yet. Right now, what if I'd said to him, don't you touch that Whaley? Remember, I told you not to. Guaranteed he would have been doing naughty stuff all day. Instead, he was good as gold with me in the way I handled it. You don't try and prevent, unless it's something dangerous, you don't try and prevent bad behavior. Let them do it. Don't try and avoid it. Don't try and prevent it. Don't micromanage, nag, be bossy. Don't do any of that. That's not leadership. Yeah, you do whatever you want. I can deal with it. Go right ahead. I know what I'm doing. That's the attitude I take. Kate even said to me once, aren't you going to try and stop me? Why would I? It's none of my business. Why would I do that? As soon as they did what they shouldn't do, then I was on them. Oh, interesting choice you just made. Here's what we're going to do. Here's your consequence. They were kind of confused by that, but why on earth would I try and stop them? Unless it's something dangerous. That's different. Okay. 9-year-old disrespectful towards family. This is Lisa. Oh, same name. But great in school. He has sensitivity issues and anxiety due to some trauma. Now, why is he good in school and disrespectful at home? I don't know what the trauma is. I'm going to have to ignore the second sentence and pretend you didn't say it, because that would be coaching. If he has anxiety and trauma, that would be coaching. But let's just say that you didn't say that. 9-year-old disrespectful towards family, but great in school. So in other words, great at school, lousy at home, right? That's the way. I'm just going to surmise it that way. God, I keep getting messages. Anyway, okay. Here's what's happening usually. If they're great in school, not at home. They follow a leader. There's 2 reasons. He's 9. Social pressure. It's kind of embarrassing acting out in school. That's one reason they're good at school. Another is the teacher might just be a really good leader. Okay. Why are they not good at home? Because you're not a leader. That's all. They follow a leader. They don't follow a non-leader. So work on your leadership skills. That's all it is. Remember, I'm not teaching kids here. I'm teaching parenting. I'm not teaching kidding, toddlering, teenagering. They already know how to do that. So if they're good at school, it means that they have it in them and they want to be good. Every kid wants to be good. So at home, you're not a leader and they're just floundering at home. So work on yourself. Work on yourself. It's never the kid. It's always the parent or the leader or the lack of a leader. Should I expect my teens to help with their younger siblings, 2 and newborn? Like, what is appropriate? Absolutely not. You chose to have those kids. They did not. They're not their kids. They're your kids. Totally your responsibility. Totally. If they happen to help out, great, but don't expect that of them. There was a show called, I can't remember, it was the one where all those parents had like 20 kids or something. And the older ones always had what they call a buddy or something. So they were basically, their older kids are raising all the younger kids. They looked wonderful, early on, but I knew what was going to happen. They said years later, they lost their childhood. They had to become mothers at like 9 years old. So they had all this responsibility and they resented it when they grew up. A lot of what you're doing wrong doesn't show itself until they're adults because they don't know any different, right? So yeah, don't expect them to parent. I'm going to read out my top 5 tips for parenting teenagers. A lot of parents expect too much from teenagers. I think that's the biggest mistake. Also, you don't change your parenting, okay? Because you have to. You're a leader when they're younger, but when they're teenagers, you want to pass that leadership baton over to them, okay? You want to start passing the leadership over to them. If you're trying to control them all the time, it's a disaster. Okay. Number 1, listen to understand and show empathy. You don't listen to gather information to lecture with, or they will shut you out. If they want your advice, they'll ask for it. They already know it anyway. Number 2, negotiate as much as possible with teenagers. Hey, can you please put your dirty clothes in the hamper from now on? And what do you want from me? Back and forth, reciprocity, mutual respect, right? Number 3, don't sweat the small stuff with teenagers. If they do something stupid and it's not a big deal, just say, well, that was stupid. Do you want to hear what I did when I was your age? And laugh it off. Or do you want to hear what I did yesterday? And laugh it off. We all make mistakes. They're allowed to. You do. They do. We all do. Number 4, don't leverage the good times to discuss the bad times. Often I'll teach parents how to connect with their teenagers. And I say, do not discuss how they disappointed you these last 2 years. And then they'll say, I won't. Every so often one does. They'll say something like this: "Oh, I'm so glad we're getting along now because you've been so difficult the last 2 years." They treat it like it's a passive aggressive insult, right? So then they can't figure out why their teenager gave them the finger and left the room. And I'm like, I told you not to say that. I told you so, told you so. But yeah, you never discuss the bad times. What's the point? It's just revenge on your part. That's all. Your revenge with your teenagers who are dragging you through the mud through those years is when they have their own teenagers and complain to you. You can just go, that's a shame. That's your revenge. You got to wait a long time for it. It's a slow burn. And number 5 with teenagers, you can be a right fighter or you can be happy. Can't be both. Okay, they're going to die on any hill. If they're arguing with you, even if they know they're wrong 100%, they'll still die on that argument hill. So don't argue with them. Just say, yeah, okay, I'll tell you what, let's just forget it. Or let's talk about it later and just let it go, okay? You can be a right fighter or you can be happy. You can be that way with adults too. You can be, no one likes a right fighter. I used to be more of a right fighter. I was very good with words and kind of proud of it. And it's not a likable quality. I don't do that anymore. If someone's being rude or whatever, I just go, whatever, I don't bother saying anything. But you know how you think later on, I wish I'd said? I was pretty good at that. And I realize I'm 65 now. That's not a likable quality. Like, wow, aren't I clever? Aren't I clever? I sort of got back at that bully or whatever. It's only when someone's snotty with me, right? But yeah, I just go, whatever, walk away, throws them off. Now, I've got a really good comeback when someone's being bossy or nasty, whatever. You know what I say? I discovered this probably 40 years ago. Someone was being, why do you do that, Lisa? And why do you do that? Just that real snotty personality type, the know-it-all. And so you know what I said to them? This is after going through this with this person for ages. And then it just came to me. They said, why would you do that, Lisa? That's so silly. Why would you do it? Trying to help me, right? This passive aggressive stuff. So I said to them, crazy Lisa. They literally went like this. Like they didn't know what to say to that. And I thought, oh, that's beautiful. Shut them right down. And they didn't come at me again. It's fascinating. Not that week anyway. But yeah, interesting, eh? Yeah, crazy Lisa. Like in other words, you're not bugging me. Teach that to your kids too. If someone's being a real pest and saying nasty things to them, just go, crazy me, crazy, whatever their name is. Miss my kids being nice to each other and helping around the house. Any tips? I don't know the age. Can't possibly answer that without an age. And you can't just put the age down. You have to put the whole question and the age because I won't go back and figure out who's talking about what because I get a lot of scrolling going. Oh, thanks, Nate. I appreciate that. Oh, good for you, Tabitha. I started welcoming tantrums and it's been a breeze. Made a big game change when I started that. LOL, thanks again. Yeah, you got to learn how to ignore, welcome tantrums is what she's saying. So if you see a kid going into a fit, scene, meltdown, or tantrum, welcome it. That's like, ooh, my opportunity to exercise my leadership. Don't try and micromanage them. Let them do whatever they're going to do. Don't try and avoid tantrums. That's their lesson. Behind every tantrum, fit, scene, meltdown is a lesson. Let them go through that. It's only a lesson when you learn how to ignore it effectively. As soon as they're finished, oh, y'all done? Do you want to go read a book? You see, you ignore the crazy, then you quickly reward the calm by attention. Yeah, it's really important. If you're not going to reward the calm, don't even ignore the tantrum. I think that's mean. But they'll learn eventually, wait a minute, when I'm crazy, I get no attention. But as soon as I shut up, all of a sudden I get attention. They'll stop having tantrums eventually. What are realistic expectations for ages 2 through 5? Well, 2 is a toddler, 5 is a child. Very different, okay? By the age of 3, they can stop and think before they act. So you should start to expect really good behavior by 3. That's when they stop and think before they act. They have the ability to do so. If you're a leader, that's the fork in the road. Toddlers are kind of crazy. Don't expect much from them. I'll read out my top 5 tips for parenting toddlers in a minute. But 3 and above, if they're not well behaved, that means their self-esteem is low, usually, which means your leadership is also low. Low leadership, low self-esteem. High leadership, high self-esteem. Work on your leadership skills. And when they've got high self-esteem, they feel good, so they do good. If you feel good, you do good. If you feel bad, you do bad. So your leadership encourages them to like themselves more and do good. It just sounds so simple, but it really is, okay? The psychology behind this is so simple. I've been studying kids my whole life. I remember even studying myself. I remember being 4 and thinking back to something I said or did when I was 3 and thinking, why would I have done that? What was I thinking? I can remember just trying to figure myself out as a kid. I was always doing this. Then at 11, I started volunteering in daycare centers and babysitting at 11. I was just always fascinated by kids because I always figured if you can figure kids out, you can figure out anybody, right? Because we all form in that childhood. I can remember what I was thinking and not so much feeling, but at any age, past the age of 3, I can remember the way my brain was working. Isn't that interesting? Because I studied myself so much, trying to figure it all out, trying to figure everything out. I might not be right all the time, but I was trying to figure it out. Okay, these are my top 5 tips for parenting toddlers. This is the discovery stage, okay? They're just going to try stuff. This is 16 to 35 months is how I've broken it down. The toddler years. Number 1, childproof your home so you never have to say no. Number 2, set up a toy rotation system so they're never bored. And you can look all this stuff up, just BratBusters anything, like BratBusters toy rotation. And I got thousands and thousands of videos out there. Number 3, connect with toddlers in their world, not your world. You don't take a toddler to the nail salon to connect with them. You go to the park and roll down the hill with them. It is just different, okay? They know the difference when you're in their world and when you're expecting them to come up to yours. It's just a different connection. It's not bad, the other one, but it's not how you really connect, okay? Number 4, discipline toddlers in their world. It's sort of similar. You discipline them in their world. They're not about words. They're about actions. You know, all these mini therapy sessions that everyone's doing, discussing all the big feelings and big emotions when they're having a tantrum and all that. It's absolute crap. That is for the mother. That's what that was invented for, to make the mom think she's being really sweet and lovely. It's just garbage because you're expecting them to come up to your world. You're expecting them to find their inner adult. You find your inner child and relate to them on that level. Okay, they're all about actions. They need consistent corrective actions. So if they do something naughty, you just say one word, no, and then you remove them from the fun or the fun from them. It's all actions. Another thing that drives me nuts is when I've heard, and I don't look at anyone else out there purposely, I stay away from all that. And what would I learn anyway? I'd just be frustrated. Anyway, so, but I hate this when they say, when they're upset, you get down on their level, you hold their hands and you get eye contact and you say, use your words. Ignorant, absolutely ignorant. In other words, be more like me. It's so patronizing. It's just awful. Anyway, I don't know who invented that, but I don't want to talk to them anyway. Okay, and number 5 is stop trying to figure them out. Toddlers are not figure-outable. They're brand new, fresh human beings. They're just forming. Imagine if you've only been in the world for 2 years. In the first year, you were a potato laying on a mattress. They have no context, no wisdom, no experience yet. They're just discovering everything, right? Everything, okay? So it's hard to remember back then, but I can sort of remember knowing that I didn't know anything. I can remember thinking that, gee, I don't know anything. Like I can literally, I was probably about 2. I can remember that. Anyway, now they just haven't formed yet. They're cute as a button, but they're all feet, no brains. They got 1 marble and some tumbleweed floating around in there. Okay, much fun and joy. If you think about any of your rules for parenting, they're all rules based on connection. Everything is. They all come back to connecting. It's amazing because you're always finding the good in your kid, which brings out so much fun and joy. Yes. Now, connecting isn't just about taking them somewhere and watching them play and applauding them. It's lovely. You're giving them something. Connecting is when you're on the swing with them. It's when you're going down the slide with them. And you gotta find a way to enjoy it. They can tell when you're having fun and when you're pretending. There's a lot of pretending when they're really little, but as they get older, try and find stuff that you can actually enjoy with them. So yeah, they just can tell the difference. They feel so valued when you're entering their world and playing with them and laughing with them. They feel so valued. And that's what you want. You want them to feel that way. They know you love them anyway, but the being valued is different. Your laughter makes them feel probably better than anything does. If you're playing with them and you joyously laugh with them, nothing makes a person feel better about themselves than that when they're connecting with someone. Their love language is fun. It's not compliments and praise and all that. That's okay, but it's not their love language at all. It does very little for them. Okay, good question. Life's abundant journey. Okay, it's on YouTube. Since you had a child who loved video games, my son, he still does. He's 36. He's got a big video game setup. Do you have suggestions on how much video game is too much? My almost 10-year-old son never wants to play with any of his other toys. Okay, that's pretty normal, but they just have to learn. They don't want to play with anything else. My son just wanted video games, but he learned. He liked reading. He loved Lego. He was outside. We spent a lot of time outside because we lived in Australia. But yeah, he just knew that you can't sit on there all day long. It's like anything, But yeah, what you can do, I have media management, I call it. If you look up BratBusters media management or screen management, I've got some ideas for that. There's 3 different ways of dealing with it. You have to decide how much time you want them to have. There's no perfect time. No one can tell you that. Okay. Nobody knows. Well, we did this 100-year study and we found out it's exactly, they don't know. We don't know yet exactly the perfect amount of time. But a good time might be for a 9-year-old, it could be 9 hours a week, let's say, that they could have, or less. It could be 4.5, half their age. Whatever you decide, you have to decide how much time you want. So, or you can do it. Okay, so you can do it that way, and then you can have a chart, and you can say, okay, you got 9 hours a week. You can do it when between these hours. So it's like you can't get up at 2 in the morning and do it, but let him manage that time. Okay, when he's used it all up, he gets nothing more for the rest of the week. If he uses it, and I've heard of this, kids will binge it like in the first 3 days, and they got nothing for the next 4 days. And the parents say, my life is hell. And I say, yeah, temporarily, but they've just learned a really good lesson. Okay, they've learned to self-discipline and manage their own time, right? So anyway, that's one way. Another way is that you have a set time frame or time block in each day that they can go on. Okay, so you've got between 7 and 7:30 every single night, and that's it. That's another way of doing it. Or another way is you've got 30 minutes a day. You decide when that is. So it's sort of similar to the other one, but you're saying 30 minutes a day, not per week. So they only have to manage 30 minutes in one day instead of 9 hours in 1 week or whatever it is, or 4.5. So yeah, so that's it. With my son, I didn't do I'll be honest, I didn't do much of what I teach with my kids. I was already a leader when they're young. So, I could just relax and enjoy them. Like I just say, oh, okay, you've been on there long enough. How about hopping off? Now, the difference is if they had argued with me, I knew I wouldn't be a leader. They didn't argue with me. So I knew I was a leader. I knew if I would just say, hey, sweetie, 5 more minutes on there, and then it's time to get off. I want you outside. Now, if he'd said, Mom, I'm right in the middle of a game. Can I just finish it? I would have said, sure. No big deal. But I trusted him, right? That was because we had mutual respect. I was a leader. If you're not a leader, it's not that easy. You got to figure out those systems. Like I would never use a system with that because I didn't need to. So a lot changes. Once you are a leader, a lot changes. You can let them be more in charge of their own. Like I don't remember telling them to go to bed or anything or do their homework or anything. They were self-disciplined, basically. But I earned that. I worked for that. Okay. Okay. What's your opinion if a little cousin bites your kid? You can tell the parent, but don't do anything about it. Like it's none of your business. It's not your kid. Not much you can do. Now, if you're in charge of them, if the parents are around, it's none of your business. But if you're in charge of that child, then you can have a consequence for them. You can say, okay, you're going to sit over here for 10 minutes because you bit so-and-so. You can sit over here with me. It's not timeout because you're with them. Okay, that's the pool story. That's what I would do to someone else's kid. Yep, I would sit with them for 10 minutes and they couldn't join in the fun until that 10 minutes is up. But if the parents are around, don't do anything. Just tell the parents, by the way, your kid bit my kid. You might want to take a look at that kind of thing. Oh, sorry. Okay, I'm going to move over to Instagram now. I keep saying I'm just going to do 45-minute lives, and they all turn into an hour and a half. How the heck does that happen? Anyway, I'm going to move over to Instagram now, and I'm on YouTube the whole time. So I'm on YouTube the whole time whenever I'm doing a live, and that's where we save all the lives. And then I hop from Facebook to Instagram to TikTok. I go from my smallest platform to my biggest. So I'm moving over now, but if you don't want to move with me over to Instagram, you can check out my website. It's BratBusters.com. You can see my free behavior board, my boot camp course for toddlers, 16 to 35 months, my boot camp course for 3 to 12-year-olds. That's a 5-week plan. It's all paced out. Or you can look into coaching if you want to work with me. There's a wait list for that, but I'll get to that eventually. Or you can look into our podcast. It's called BratBusters Parenting Podcast. We drop them every Tuesday and Thursday morning, or my daughter does all that. And my daughter and I work together and we do the podcast together. So you can check that out. It's on YouTube, by the way, if you want to watch us film it. Anyway, thanks so much for joining me. I'm hopping over to Instagram. Happy parenting. Wish there was one button. There is a software program that you can get and you can stream them all at the same time. We were going to buy that and my daughter tried to show me how to do it and then she decided I couldn't handle it. Because all the other stuff that you see online, my daughter does, but this is mine. And she said, yeah, you can't handle that. Wise daughter. That's when she knew I couldn't handle it because I get all whiny. Oh, I don't know, but because it doesn't look like, it's not pretty. It looks like a back end, like, coating and everything. Oh, geez. I got just about wet my pants when she tried to show me. Okay, sorry, I'm talking about wetting my pants here. Okay, so welcome to the live. My name's Lisa. I'm a parenting coach. If you go on my website, it's BratBusters.com. You can get my behavior board, my boot camp course for toddlers, that's 16 to 35 months. There's no pacing out with that. You just look at the whole thing and take what you need from it because you're just going to be reacting to toddlers. Now, the 3 to 12-year-old boot camp course is very different. It's paced out. It's very organized over a period of 5 weeks. You can stretch it out if you go away or whatever else happens, but you can't make it go faster because it's just, you're going to crash and burn. Anyway, that's all laid out. And then you can look into coaching. I do have a wait list for that, but I'll get through it eventually. Or you can listen to our podcast. It's called BratBusters Parenting Podcast. It's on all the platforms, and we save it on YouTube. That's my daughter and I. If you want to watch us film it together, that's on YouTube. Okay, thanks so much for turning up. Sorry, my slipper got caught in my wheel. I was so confused. Okay, come see my kids. You need to see them. I've probably seen them. They just had different names. Very rarely do I come up against something that I haven't worked with before, like with kids, right? Tabitha, could you imagine how many questions you would have at once and checking if they're still there? That would be hard. Yeah, I do scroll through tons of questions. So I just scroll. The reason why I scroll and just flip through questions is because I need to make sure they're still here. People come and go in lives. Like, it may only look like I get 100 people, but then when I get out of it, it'll say, oh, 3,000 people were there. Just means they didn't like me because they left. But I mean, they come and go because people are in their car, whatever. But yeah, I've gotten pretty good at scrolling through it. I remember the first time I did a live. Oh my God, I stressed out. I was trying to read every single question. I talked a mile a minute. And plus, yeah, I don't know what I was doing. That was the one where it was one of my first podcasts about 3 or 4 years ago. Not podcasts, my first lives. And someone really big had shared me. They didn't do it again, so they obviously didn't like me. But they shared my live, and 26,000 people turned up in one show. I was on TikTok, and 26,000 people. And the questions were going like crazy. It was that's why they didn't do it again. I'm sure I handled that really poorly. Pretty sure. Guaranteed, actually. Okay, you got a 2-year-old potty training. I can't answer really any potty training questions other than 2.5 is a good age to potty train. The reason is it's a whole system. It's laid out. It's like asking, you have any weight loss? Like if you say to a diet center, you have any weight loss tips? They could give you one tip, but you're not going to lose any weight. It's got to be the whole system. So potty training, you have to buy it if you want. If you're interested in my potty training course, it's in both of my boot camp courses. But I can't give you any tips on that because it's a whole system. I trained my son in 1 day, my daughter in 2 days. Now and completely no night diapers, no pull-ups, nothing. But I was already a leader. But it's a good way to get some leadership skills. And if you give that a go for about a week and it's still not working, abandon ship and try again in a month. Okay. They're just not ready, or your leadership's you're floundering a little bit. That's usually what's happening. Yeah, because you can be really good at doing one thing, but if you're still yelling at your kids and not playing with them enough, it's going to affect the potty training too. Right? You see what I mean? You kind of gotta, I know that when we're doing the behavior board, we're only dealing with one behavior at a time, but you really want to master your leadership skills with that one behavior. It's the only way we can do it. When I first started teaching about 20 years ago, this business, I didn't have a behavior board because I would never use one. And I thought, why are these parents not understanding their own accountability? They couldn't quite get that. And then I figured it out. I put them on a behavior board too. The parents are on there too. That's why it works, because you have to be accountable. A leader leads by example, not by lecture. You don't tell the kids how to act. You show them. You've got to be accountable for your mistakes too. Anyway, everything changed after that. But yeah. So I'm just scrolling. Okay. You said, my son keeps pooping his pants. He's 1.5. Well, that's what they do, don't they? I don't understand. You don't have him in diapers? I don't understand that. Or it could be someone young on here. This was funny. I was telling people about this. I love this kind of stuff. Someone came on here. I don't know what platform I was on. And they just said, I hate you. You suck. Something like that. And I said, and I stopped and I read it. And this is a really good lesson for kids too. And adults too. I guess a lot of adults don't think this way. But what I said to them is I read it out and I said, I hate you. You suck. And I said, I'll be honest, if I met you, I'd probably hate you too. And that's okay. Like, you're not going to like everybody. There's nothing wrong with that. You don't want to be a people pleaser where you want everyone to like you. I'm very polarizing with parenting, especially, extremely so. That's okay. Because I'd rather be really extreme and go with what I believe in and not worry about if I'm going to offend some people or a lot of people aren't going to like me. That's okay. If you're trying to please everyone, you don't please anybody. Okay. So yeah, and I said, that's something that's really important to tell your kids too. Don't worry about if everyone doesn't like you because you don't like everyone. That's normal. That is normal. It's kind of weird to say I hate you. That's, might have been a kid. I don't know. But anyway, it's a good lesson in life for anybody. Don't worry about what other people think. If you're being yourself and as long as you're a good person, I trust that I'm a good person. So I don't care if anyone likes me or not, could care less, because it would most likely be mutual, right? You either connect with people or you don't. That's the way I look at it. So I remember growing up, I got a lot of questions. A lot of people used to ask me this. How is it you walk in? And I got asked this more times than you would think. I remember one time in particular, it was a new gym and they said, we got to be friends. And they said, I remember the first time you ever walked into this aerobics room. I used to teach aerobics down the road, but when I first started doing this, they said, I can remember the first day you were brand new at the gym and you walked in. They said, you walked in like you owned the place. And she said, I've never seen anyone walk into a room like that. And I said, well, did I look arrogant? And she goes, no, you just look extremely comfortable. And then I thought, I've heard that lots and lots of times. You know why? Because whenever I walk into a room full of strangers, I think, I hope I like someone here. It would never dawn on me to worry if they like me. It wouldn't even cross my mind, because I'm not going to change who I am anyway. I'm okay with who I am, which means I'm also okay with people if they don't like me. It doesn't bother me, because it's rare that it wouldn't be mutual, right? So I taught my kids that. I said, don't be a people pleaser. Don't try and please everyone. Don't worry about if people don't like you. Chances are you wouldn't like them either. Sometimes it doesn't work out that way, especially in romantic things. You can like someone that's not reciprocated in that way anyway. So, sometimes that happens, but generally, so I really raised my kids with that too. I said, don't be a people pleaser. If someone doesn't like you, it's probably mutual, and that's okay. It's okay. Anyway, that person, I think, bailed after I said that. So I think it's a good lesson to teach kids. You do not want people pleasers. It gets them in all sorts of trouble. Oh, I don't know how old she is, but I'm going to answer this anyway. You said strange question. It is kind of, and that I've never heard it before, but it doesn't mean it's weird. Just kind of, I haven't heard it before. My little one has this dollhouse that I hate for her to take apart because I don't know how to put it back together. How would you handle that? I'd let her take it all apart. That's part of the fun for her, obviously. Maybe she'll grow up to be an engineer or something. And then I would struggle in front of her trying to get her to help me put it back together. I would think that would be kind of fun in a way. Yeah, I wouldn't discourage that. It's her toy. She's not breaking it. She's just dismantling it. Maybe she'll become a home designer, or an architect or something like that. I know when my granddaughter, I'll build, she's older now, she's just over 2. But when she was like 1.5, and I'd build like this big magnetile tower. And then because she was beside me, but playing with something else and she hadn't seen it yet. As soon as she turned around, I was like, oh, because sure enough, she loved knocking it all over. It was half the fun, right? She doesn't do that now. She just she tries to add to it now. Okay, good. Your videos made me take accountability of my parenting and stop me from falling into the victim mentality in motherhood. Wonderful. The victim mentality is also the blame mentality. If you feel like a victim, it means you're blaming your kids. Remember, as a leader, we always, always, always blame ourselves. When I was working with, that's what a leader does, right? When I was working with kids, if they acted out under my care when I was first starting to work with them, I always thought, what am I missing here? Rather than blame them, I always thought, what am I missing? What am I doing wrong? That's what a leader does. A leader tries to lead, right? So good for you. Good for you. You get it. Always take the blame, the shame, the The responsibility, always, always, always. You can also take the credit. I remember I was working with, I think it was a teenager. I was just telling the story to a client today. And I was working with this teenager once, and the teacher said, they said something like, wow, you've just been great lately. And I said, thank you. The teenager got it. Like I was taking credit for their better behavior. So you take the blame, and then later on, when you're a leader, you can take the credit. Anyway, they thought, the teacher didn't get that, but they thought that was hilarious. Hey, you've been so good. Oh, thank you. I think I'm funny. Okay. Teenager left. Each child is different and unique. Yeah, but your leadership can stay the same with them all. But the way that you do things with them can change, especially with play. I'll give you a good example. My son's more like me in that we love being teased and like scared. Oh, my daughter likes being teased too. But we both liked being scared and that. Like he said, he was an adult, and he said to this day, he's 36 now. This was a few years ago. And he said every time he'd go to open a pantry door, he'd be like that because he grew up with me hanging out inside the pantry, waiting for him to open it. And I said, every time you open the pantry door, he'd scream, even if I wasn't there. But he liked that. It was funny, right? And then, of course, he got older and he got really good at it. And it was payback time. So I got scared a lot. Anyway, but my daughter didn't like it. I never did that to her, ever. She hated it. So, yeah, they're all different, right? But I was still the same leader. I was still accountable. I played with my kids. My leadership, my personality was still the same. But, you know, the things I did with them was different. So, like my daughter, I did hair. She danced she competed and danced all the time doing hair. I didn't do that with my son. He was different, right? Oh God, if anyone's ever had girls in dance, or boys too, boys aren't as bad because they have short hair. We did have some boys in the school too. And the dance hair. And my daughter at one stage, she was 8, I think, and she had 11 numbers. She danced with the 8-year-olds, the 10-year-olds, and the 12-year-olds. They had to fill in a position or something. So, and she was a pretty good dancer. But 11 costumes, 11 lipstick changes, like they had to go back and forth on her hair. If anyone's ever been backstage at a dance concert competition, you know what I'm talking about. Thank God I had a boy also, not 2 girls in doing that. Oh my God. But some people did. They had sisters doing it. So it's a lot of work. Okay, someone asked about whining. Oh, they're 14 months old. Nothing you can do about it. No, not at 14 months old. Yeah, not much you can do. No, whining, I do have methods when they're older, but not at 14 months old. They're still a baby till they're about 16 months old. That's the way I look at it. 16 months is a gray area, 16 to 18 months. I say 16 to 35 months is toddler, but before that, they're a baby, so up to 15 months, but still 16, you know, around there. It's kind of a gray area. Oh, cute. This is Micah on YouTube. I followed your behavior board, and I've also recognized some of my faulty parenting styles, and I've adjusted to becoming a leader. And the change in my 5-year-old is day and night. Connection is huge. Connection is everything. Discipline's a tiny part of this. It's really about connection. People don't tune in if I just talk about connection, though. They want to hear about the discipline. That we've learned that. We put the odd video out. By the way, good for you. I'm just talking. You've done all the work. So pat yourself on the back. Good for you, Micah. But yeah, connection. If we do a video on how to connect with your kids, just tanks. If we do how to handle disrespectful kids or how to handle tantrums, we know how to get viral videos. We don't feed that because we think it's kind of cheesy to do that, but we know exactly what makes a video viral. But we hold back on that. We try and just stay really neutral with all that stuff. I'm sure there's people out there who keep going for the viral videos, but yeah. How to handle it. The more you talk about bad behavior, the bigger the views. Do you have a connection video? I don't know. Everything I talk about, I try and throw a connection in there. I think if you look on our podcast, we might have something about that. If you go through some of the titles, we might have that. So it's called BratBusters Parenting Podcast. And you might find one. It's on YouTube if you want to look that up. And just look up connection. I'll look it up right now. I'm curious, actually. I'll just a sec here. It's just, I don't know if we would have called it that, but we have done a lot of, okay, if you go in just go on Google, I guess you could even do it, and go BratBusters anything, BratBusters connection. I just went on YouTube. My YouTube channel is, I didn't even go on my channel. I just went BratBusters connection in YouTube. Tons of stuff came up. Tons of it. Oh, here we go. We did a whole podcast a year ago, how to connect and have fun with your kids. So that's 1 year ago. So you can look that up. YouTube, how to connect and have fun with your kids. So we did do a whole podcast on that. But they tend to get lower views, I think. Well, that one did pretty good, actually. Oh, well, there you go. But we have done a lot of videos on that. I guess short form videos don't do as well with that. I don't know. Yeah, so my daughter told me. She does all the marketing, so I don't know anything about it. I know nothing about that. Almost 6-year-old girl just started with attitude and whining. Really haven't had issues with this before. How do you handle that? So they will from time to time try stuff. Attitude, you can't address. It just means you're not a leader. Work on your leadership skills. And whining, this is what I say to whining. Whining, I don't treat it like bad behavior. I treat it like a vocal affectation. It's like vocal fry, that kind of, they're just really affected when they talk like that. Well, another thing, women do it. It's called the vocal fry. And I consider whining like that. It's an attitude. It's got it's not bad behavior though. Okay. So what I say is, I'll tell you what, when you whine, like when you talk like this, you say this to your kid, I don't know. That's called whining. You may not even know you're doing it. So from now on, every time you whine, I'm going to let you know you're whining by touching my nose. And if you continue to whine, I will ignore you. If you ask nicely or talk to me nicely, I will answer you, but the answer may still be no. So now you've just set up a whole system. If they whine, you go like that. They continue whining, you look away. You've already told them this is happening, okay? Then parents will say, but they forgot. No, they didn't. No, oh, but I forgot, but. Follow through with that, okay? Just follow through. Whining at 3 years old, same thing. I don't know what a PED is. Pediatricians? I'm just curious your thoughts on PEDS, P-E-A-D-S. What's that? Saying you should talk to your kids about feelings and emotions after tantrums. About the tantrum? I don't discuss tantrums. We already know what their feelings are. They're just pissed because they didn't get their own way. Why do you need to discuss that? I don't know. It doesn't make any sense to me. Oh, Tabitha, that was one of my favorite podcasts. Interesting because, connecting is the most important thing to me with kids. That's how I worked with kids for 50 years plus. But people don't seem to want to hear much about it. Maybe they'll hear more about it. I don't know. Maybe things are changing. But you talk about how to discipline kids and how to handle defiant, strong-willed kids. Those are, those videos often go viral. What if your kid hits you, slaps you across the face, all that kind of stuff? Those ones go viral. We just won't do that, right? I'll just tell you my story. And I'm telling you this because if you have something you're really passionate about and you think you're good at it and you can help people, go on TikTok or some other platform. Just start talking. You may be surprised what happens. My daughter, my business, it was just going along okay for probably about 15 years. And then she said, Mom, you got to go on TikTok. It's for you. It's casual because I don't like planning anything. I hate that stuff. I just have to think off the top of my head. So anyway, she just start filming yourself. So I did. And I said, well, I'm not a 12-year-old dancer. This is about 4 years ago. And I said, well, I'm not a 12-year-old dancer. And that was what I thought TikTok was. I didn't know anything about it. So I started just doing videos. I think I did one pretty much every day because I had to get stuff off my chest about parenting, right? So, and I wasn't really on social media before that. So I go and I'm in my bathroom, just holding my phone like this, talking to myself in the mirror because I have to talk to someone if I'm talking. I can't just talk to a wall. That's why I'm looking at myself here, but I see myself as an audience. Anyway, so I talk about, and I blew up overnight, absolutely stunned. So just give it a go. If you have something that you feel can help people, that you are passionate about and you think you're good at, start sharing it. You never know. You never know. Because I've talked to some clients who have been following me for a while and they've seen how fast it's grown. And they'll ask my advice. And then I'll say, well, they might have a business idea. And they say, well, and I say, just throw it out there. Throw it out. Who cares what anyone thinks? Just throw it out there. right? Don't worry about it. You got to be authentic though. People can tell, or I can anyway. You know, one thing I wouldn't let my kids do though, my kids are too old for this. Like when they were young, we didn't have all this video stuff that they could put out there. There was YouTube, but it just wasn't the same. I wouldn't let like a 12-year-old put videos out there. And I also wouldn't put my kids out there. The reason is I think there's a bunch of creeps out there, but not just that. They're not old enough to decide whether or not they want that out there, because it could be there for the rest of their lives. They don't have that discernment, whether or not they want it out there, because it is forever. Whatever you put online, it's forever. So do they want their future kids and grandkids seeing it? You know, so they can't really make that decision yet. So, and I know some parents let their kids do that. But I'm kind of warned against that. I just don't think that that's necessary, you know. Okay. That's a whole other conversation. I don't get into that too much. You'll notice I don't talk about that a lot. I've got a very good reason for it, and it is a business decision. But anyway, it's not about litigation or anything. It's about, it really is about being current. Because if I start talking about what's out there on social media today, if someone was to watch these videos 20 years from now, it would be dated. Whereas everything I'm saying is parent-child relationship. I try not to use a lot of stuff that's just today, right? Because I want it to be, you know, endless. I want it to be something that lasts. Well, I don't quite understand this question, but I will answer. I don't know the age of your kids, and I don't quite understand this question, but I want to make a point with this. This is Medusa. Okay. It said being consistent is key. Kids feel safe. Yeah, it's part of it. It's part of the big picture. Yes. What to do when the mother works from home and changes her instructions just to keep them quiet because of a phone call. So you get a phone call and all of a sudden you're inconsistent. You could have like a phone call protocol. When I'm on a call, you can turn on the iPads until I say turn them off. Something like that. You can have a protocol. Really hard when you work from home, and I don't know how old your kids are, by the way, it makes a difference. When you've got toddlers, they do not understand work. You got and I've actually had clients ask me, you know, I've got a 1.5 and a 2.5-year-old, and I've got to work from home. I don't have a separate room to do it. How do I explain to them that they can't interrupt me? Can't. They don't understand that. They can't possibly understand that at that age. So yeah, it depends a lot on the ages too. Okay, I got to hop over to TikTok. If you want to join me over there, it's BratBusters Parenting. If not, check out my website. It's BratBusters.com. It's, yeah, that's right. Sorry, mine was wandering. It's called BratBusters.com. You can get my free behavior board, my boot camp courses. I have one for toddlers, one for older kids. You can look into coaching. I do have a very big wait list for that right now, but I'll get through it eventually. Or you can look at YouTube. That's BratBusters Parenting. That's where we save all of our podcasts if you want to watch us. If you don't, you can listen to our podcast, BratBusters Parenting Podcast. It's on all the platforms. Happy parenting. I'm hopping over to TikTok. I've got something running in the background here. I got to shut it down. Okay. It was grabbing my attention. Okay. Oh, I got 17 people on YouTube. YouTube is my smallest platform, and it's growing though. I think I've got about 53,000 followers on there. YouTube's, it's a search engine. It's not social media. So it's quite different. And I love YouTube. I watch it all the time. I'm addicted to YouTube and TikTok. I've never looked at Instagram ever. I'm on there, but I've never looked at it because it used to just be pictures. I have no interest in pictures. I just look at videos. So it has videos now, I know, but I don't need another addiction. Okay. Just waiting for more people to turn up before I introduce myself here on TikTok. And I'm on YouTube the whole time whenever I'm doing a live. Well, that's sweet, Tabitha. Don't you give me all the credit. Give it to yourself. I just talk parenting. You're the one who does all the work. Okay. Oh, I don't invite people in these lives at all. I only did it once, and I won't go on about it. It didn't go well. They tried to sell to my audience. Anyway, I was horrified. Okay, because I guess they're marketing, right? Getting into other people's lives to sell their stuff. I didn't see that one coming. Stupid me. Okay, anyway, thanks for joining me. My name's Lisa. I'm a parenting coach. If you go on my website, it's BratBusters.com. You can get my free behavior board, my boot camp course for toddlers, my boot camp course for 3 to 12-year-olds. That's a 5-week course, and you learn how to be a leader. Remember, it's all you, not your kids, okay? Leadership is all about you. You lead, they will instinctively follow. Okay, and then you can look into coaching if you want to work with me one-on-one. I do have a large wait list, but I'll get to you eventually. And also the podcast is called BratBusters Parenting Podcast. It's on all the platforms, and we save it on YouTube if you want to watch us do it. My daughter and I work together. It's the only time we're actually ever together. Well, except for just socializing and all that. But when we work, it's the podcast. So if you want to watch us do that, that's on YouTube. BratBusters Parenting. How do you stop your kids from fighting with each other? 2 boys, 10 and 4. You just put down no aggressive behavior. If you allow wrestling at all, it's a mixed message. Wrestling is combat, okay? It just is. So if you allow wrestling and then say, oh, well, don't get out of hand, it's not fair to say that. Have a combat, but don't get wild, you know. So a lot of parents allow wrestling, but then they get upset when the kids get out of control, which doesn't make any sense. But anyway. That's one thing. If they're fighting, you can just put down no grabbing things off the other. That can be one. I've got a lot of different. If you look up BratBusters sibling rivalry, I've done podcasts on it. I'm just not in the mood to get into that because there's so many different things. There's so many different ways of approaching that. And yeah, is it physical or is it just screaming or is it in the back of the car? Is it home? So look up. I have tons of videos on sibling rivalry and how you handle that. Oh, thanks, Kaylee. I appreciate that. Naughty step for a 2-year-old. That's timeout. Can't stand timeout. I hate it. Just keep watching. You'll see whatever. And also you can look at my behavior board. It has 2 mini courses in it. It's free. One for toddlers, which is what would address that. There's 3 common discipline methods that I can't stand. One of them's timeout. The other one is diversion, because you never divert with broccoli. It's always with a treat. And the other one is the countdown when they're doing something naughty. You better stop by the time I count to 3. So they can be naughty for 3 counts, but then it's a mixed message. And then there's no consequence. So anyway, check out my free behavior board. It has a toddler section in it. If you want the toddler course, that's not free. It's the next level up. It's on BratBusters.com. Okay, my 18-month-old is a runner at park. If I have to discipline, they will run. What do I do? How on earth can you not catch an 18-month-old? Plus, if you're going to discipline them, I would look like I'm distracted till I'm right next to them. Then I would grab their wrists so they can't even try and run away. So yeah, just go. If they need to be disciplined, I would just sort of meander over towards them, maybe, and just grab their whip. But how can you not catch an 18-month-old? They're usually not that fast. Okay, Canada versus Australia versus USA. Any big differences in child raising styles? I think Canada and the US are very similar. Australia is quite different. That's where I raised my kids, was in Australia. And I would have to say the one difference I noticed was, well, 2 of them, big ones, was the school relies very heavily on parent involvement. In North America, not so much. And I know exactly why. I don't want to get into it. When I moved back here, I was shocked. Luckily, my kids were 9 or 10 and 15, so it was easier. But when they were little, I was there every day, and I know why. It would not work in North America, but in Australia, it was fantastic. There was always a parent in the back of the class helping out. I love that. The other big difference is Australians are more self-deprecating, so they weren't as braggy as North Americans are. And they didn't brag about their parenting. Whereas in Australia, I noticed all the moms, we were all fighting over who was the worst parent. I remember we used to sit, and I was in a baby group, and we'd all sit around and tell stories about what stupid things we did as mothers. There was no bragging. There was no social pressure to be perfect. It was more, I liked it. I really loved it. I loved Australia. I love Canada too, but there's more sort of trying to outdo each other over here for sure. Yeah, that's what I noticed. So there's good and bad everywhere. That was one thing. I'm really glad I raised my kids in Australia. I loved it. Oh, don't ask me about medical advice. I'm not a doctor. That's a doctor thing. The wait list, it could be, geez, I don't know. I'll look right now. I'll never tell you the number. And also what happens is the longer people have to wait, if they're waiting a month or two, they often move on to someone else. Then they'll often come back and hire me after that anyway, or else they might just buy the course. So a lot of times I can get through the list. The older it is, the fast I can get through 20 people, and maybe only 2 of those 20 will hire me if they've been waiting for 2 or 3 months. So I never know how fast it's going to go. And the only reason it's quite slow is because most of my current clients rehire me, and they always get first go, right? Always. And that's why I always have a few spots open because of that, because I need to keep those open for my current clients. But I can't give you, it's usually maybe within a month, I might be able to get through it. What are your thoughts on baby leashes? They're absolutely fantastic to keep them alive. It's like child seats in a car seats. They're there to keep them alive, right? Yeah, you don't want them getting flattened by a bus. If you've got a runner, I would think nothing of putting on them a leash. I'd have them on a leash in a shot. What's the best age to give the kids a phone? I can't answer that because no one really knows. I would say 14 before they can have a smartphone. Even then, I don't really like it. But it's reality. If they don't have a smartphone, their friends do. They can see whatever their friends can see, they're going to see on their phones. So you can't protect them from everything these days, right? But yeah, I don't like them to have a phone. Well, they don't need a phone until they're out on their own, right? When they go to the mall with their friends, stuff like that. But before 12, they're never out on their own usually, right? So I didn't get my kids phones. They were flip phones back in the day. My kids are older. They're like 36 and 31 now. So I didn't get them phones till they were going out on their own, like to the mall with their friends. Then they got a phone. I am Canadian. I'm also Australian. I'm married an Australian, and I moved to Australia for 20 years. My mother her health was failing. So I moved my kids, and my ex-husband came back too to Canada. He's Australian, but he moved to Canada also because I wouldn't take kids away from their dad. I would never do that. But I wanted to be with my mom. She died in my arms when she was 93. It was beautiful. I'm so glad I came back. And then I thought, well, I'll come back and maybe, help with mom for a while and then move back. But by that time, my kids were 10 and 15 when we moved here. And then they were teenagers and young adults. And it was, so no, they were never going to go back to Australia. And I'd never go back there without them. So I love both countries. They're both home to me. I know people have asked me, they said, well, what should we do when we go to Australia? Well, I don't know. I never was a tourist there. I moved there integrated. I just was out in the suburbs raising kids. I know how to live in Australia and raise a family there. I don't know how to travel there and be a tourist at all. Wouldn't have a clue. But I know how to live there. Every country, I've got clients all over the world. Every single country and culture has things that are better and worse. And I haven't found any culture where I think, wow, we've got it all over them. Or wow, they've got it all over us. There's just so many differences that balance each other out. And, and a lot of other cultures I know get criticized or whatever, but they've been around for how many hundreds or thousands of years. North Americans and Australians, we're all pretty new, so yeah, I find it fascinating. I love taking ideas from different cultures. You can get good and bad from every single country, things that you like and things that you don't like. I do have a very funny story about Australia, if you want to hear it. Didn't make me look good, but there's a lot of slang in Australia. And I struggled with something, made a fool out of myself. But anyway, if you want to hear it, you can ask, I'll tell it. Just to break it up. Okay. My 22-month-old still isn't sleeping through the night and skips naps through the day occasionally. Yeah, you're probably in that transition phase. They're outgrowing naps. And as soon as they stop having naps, they might be cranky for the rest of the day, but then they'll start sleeping through the night. Yeah, you might want to check out my bedtime battles if they do get up in the middle of the night. You can check that out. Just look up BratBusters bedtime, and lots of videos will come up on how you handle that if they do get up in the middle of the night. But yeah, you're probably in that transition stage, right? Oh, you need to hear the story. Okay, I'll tell you the story. It doesn't make me look good. That's okay. I'm fine with that. Anyway, I just moved to Australia. My husband was Australian, so my new husband. And we divorced about 15 years later. But anyway, he was my husband at the time. So I just arrived there. Now, we went to McDonald's. Probably the last time I went. Like, I don't eat fast food, but I used to. And so we went. I was like 28 at the time, I think. So I went to McDonald's and I got some. I said, now, he wasn't helping out at all. And he's Australian. You'd think he would have helped out. So I said, this was 1989. Okay. So I said, can I please have a hamburger and fries? And the girl goes, she was young. She goes, fries? And I said, yeah, fries. And she looks around. She's so confused. And then I said, you know, those little potato things that come in like, hot chips. Okay. Can I please have whatever, Big Mac and hot chips? And then she handed them to me. And I said, oh, can I please have some ketchup with that? And she says, ketchup? And I said, yeah, ketchup. Now, my husband should have spoken up at this point, but I think he was enjoying it. So I said, yeah, ketchup, you know, you squeeze. And I realized that they didn't call it that, or I was saying it with a Canadian accent. And I said, you know, the red sauce that comes in a white pack and you squirt it out. And she's, she did not get it. Now my voice was starting to get louder because I thought maybe she just didn't hear me. You know, it's like red and it squeezes out, you know, and I was starting to get frustrated. I couldn't get this across to her. So the manager hears my voice going, and she's going, I don't know. I don't understand. He comes over and he says, she means tomato sauce. They don't call it ketchup. They call it tomato sauce. So she goes, oh, tomato sauce. And at this point, I can feel myself sweating. Like I'm just so frustrated because I just arrived a couple of weeks before, driving on the left. You know, everything was new to me. I missed my family. Turns out I was pregnant too and didn't know it. I got pregnant the day I arrived. Anyway, so she puts the ketchup pack on my tray and it said ketchup on it. It didn't say tomato sauce, big red letters, nothing but the word ketchup. And I looked at it and I said, ketchup, it says ketchup. Everyone around was looking, I went berserk. Like, I was so mad because ketchup, it said it on there. Anyway, that's one of my many welcome to Australia stories. I got millions of them. That one was, and then to add to it, here I was sweating. I hate scenes. I don't really have a temper, but this got to me. I was so frustrated. Then my husband got an apple pie. So we sit down. He ate the apple pie first for some reason. He takes a bite of it, and on the box it says it might be too hot. So then he took a bite out of it, and it was really hot. And he goes like this, and his steam is pouring out of his mouth, and I'm sitting there sweating. I'm sure they took a picture of us and put it up on the wall, like, you know, banned from this store. We were just a mess. Anyway, yeah, I had a whole bunch of stories, but that one was one of my first ones. And also I got in the car. He went to work first few days, and I said, look, I got to learn how to drive on the left. He'd given me a few lessons, but I was always like going off the cliff. Anyway, so I decided he left the car with me. He went to work. I ended up getting a job there about a week later. But anyway, and I'm driving along. I get in rush hour in Sydney traffic. We lived in Marsfield, North Ryde area, and we got through Epping, and you know how crowded that is. I get in traffic. I couldn't get out of the lane. I'm driving on the left. I'm in the wheels on the wrong side of the car. I drove for 2 hours, went up the coast, ended up on a beach, sat there, had something to eat, and then I had to drive all the way back home again. I just couldn't get out of the traffic. I couldn't get out of the lane. I learned how to drive really well on the left-hand side in that one day after like 5 hours of driving. But anyway, it's hard moving to a different country. Okay, sorry about that, guys. I'll get back to parenting stuff here. Okay. You said, my 3-year-old hits me all the time. How do I handle this? Hits me when playing, excited, and when upset. It's all the same thing. I don't care why they hit you. The fact that they hit you, unless you're walking in front of a bus and they hit you to get it out of the way. That's one of the few exceptions. But just put on the behavior board, no hitting, okay? You might want to even put something down like this, no aggressive behavior. And then you explain to them that means hitting, kicking, biting, just in case they're prone to other aggressive behavior. But generally, people just put no hitting. So then you put that on the board, and then there's a consequence if they do. Just follow through with consequences. We all learn through consequences, not through being lectured at. You know, all these discussions, discussing all the big feelings and big emotions, it's absolute garbage. It's garbage. You can discuss their big feelings and big emotions at any other time, but not around discipline, not around bad behavior. Doesn't mean anything. Okay, good. Gave consequence, wiping top of trash can. 5-year-old threw it and started kicking it. What do I do? You say, oh, okay, so wait till he's finished. He has his scene. And then you say, okay, let's go over to the board. And then you say, so I don't care what the rule was. This is what I would do. So I'd go, because he's 5. I would go over to the board and I'd say, I'll tell you what, your rule was whatever. And then your consequence was wipe the trash can. You kicked it around. I'll tell you what. Because you did that, we're going to go straight to 24-hour media blackout, and that starts now. And then you go, do you understand? You see, do you understand? Like that tone? Let the poop hit the fan. He's going to freak out. It's important that he does that. And it's important that you just stay calm through it. If he's getting really violent, you can physically intervene if they're hurting themselves, hurting someone else, or damaging property. You can hold his wrists if you can for 30 seconds or so. Just say one word if he's getting physical. No, hold him. Let go after 30 seconds. If he starts up again, just hold him again. Just keep doing that repeatedly. It's going to get ugly. But if you can prove yourself through that scene, your leadership is starting to go up. Okay? But you see my tone? So he's violent. He's been kicking the trash can. Oh, okay. I'll tell you what. Let's go to the behavior board. Walk over to it. Now let me see. You broke the rule, then that consequence, then you kicked the garbage can instead of wiping it. So I'll tell you what we're going to do. See how I'm talking it through? I'm a problem solver. I'm a leader. I am calm. And then when I say, we're going to do 24-hour media blackout because of that, and that starts now. And then you look at them and you go, do you understand? Like, in other words, it's going to happen. But watch your tone. Don't get snotty. Don't go, you understand? Do you understand? You nod, kind of a little bit of a smile, calm. You're letting them know, I'm in charge here. That's all you're saying. Yep. And you are in charge, okay? You are. You're the leader. You're the parent. You're paying the bills. You're the adult. You've got experience, wisdom. They need you. They need you to be a leader. They need you to be in charge. They need that. They can have self-discipline, then they can take total control over their own lives. If they're doing the right thing, then they can be in charge. But when they're doing the wrong thing, that's when you're in charge. Oh, you said Jacob Smith. I don't quite understand the question. Oh, wait a minute, Jacob Smith. Was there a question? Please touch on mine. Oh, your 8. Okay, my 8-year-old asked, is that the one? Okay, my 8-year-old asked, what are those blocks on the wall behind her? I told her it was art. So blocks on the wall behind her. Oh, mine. Oh, that's what I didn't understand. Oh, that's okay. I should replace that. I had family photos up there and I had to take them down. So I just got some of that fabric stuff that you put on there. And then I told her it was art and she said, I guess I'm a better artist than her. I am sure she is. I am not an artist at all. But I just put it up there because I needed a wall filler. I meant to get something else. But yeah, that's so cute. Guess I'm better than art. Yeah. Everybody's a better artist than me. Oh, that's cute. What are your thoughts on corporal punishment? That would be spanking. Yeah, it's not necessary. Spanking and yelling go together. It means you're out of control. Okay, when you're in control, you don't need to spank or yell or anything like that. I teach you how to be in control by setting yourself up as a leader. So you are in control. You know what to do. But whenever you spank or yell, it looks like you don't know what you're doing. It's a sign of weakness. Someone said, what are appropriate consequences for a 4-year-old? Just check out my free behavior board. It's just usually doing a chore. And if they won't do it, then you resort to media blackout or something, take something away for 24 hours. I don't know about this. Okay, I could be wrong. Kelly, 6-year-old daughter or 6-year-old delaying comes out of bed because he is sad about passing of great grandma 6 months ago. You know, he can be sad, but getting out of bed, is he sad throughout the day? Is he sad while you're playing? Is he sad? Like, I don't quite get that. 6 months ago, he's 6. I don't want to comment on that because it could be grief, but I'm almost wondering if he's using that as an excuse. Like, you can be sad, but you can stay in bed and be sad. We can get a sound machine. We can play music in the background if you can't get to sleep, if you're sad, to divert his grief away. So I don't know. I think I'd figure it out pretty quickly in coaching, but I don't know. I'd have to figure it out. Could very well be using it. Like, is he sad at other times, or is it just at bedtime? Okay, my almost 3-year-old would definitely give you a run for your money on art. Probably wouldn't know what color with between. Yeah, anyone could top that. That's just, what do they call that fabric? It comes in rolls. It's just that rough. I always forget the name of that fabric. I just glued it on there. It's so lame. It's ridiculous. I put it up there thinking I'll buy new artwork within a week. That was like a year ago. Horrible. I could care less. Burlap. Thank you. Burlap. I made my daughter a burlap backpack. I sew, and I can sew. I just can't do art. And years and years ago, I made her a burlap backpack. It was actually made out of an old coffee sack that I found, like a literal old big coffee sack bag. And I made her a bag out of that. And she got so many. She was at university. She got so many questions. Oh my God, how do you get that? If you've ever sewn with that, you'll know you'll never want to do it again. Those fibers fly around, go in your nostrils and your lungs. Oh, it was awful. I'll never do it again. But yeah, burlap, it's just awful. If you have any ideas, I would love to get I want to get a really big, maybe like a woven rug or something, like, the rag rug kind of style, but I like really plain. Look, I thought that'd be nice hanging up there because I got so many hard lines here. I thought something softer would be nice. Maybe something round, but it'd have to be big. And I can't have a mirror because that would reflect everything back. So if anyone has any ideas, should your child fear consequences? No, but they don't have to like them. They shouldn't be afraid of them, but they shouldn't have to like them. Like, a consequence is just doing a good deed usually. Or they could fear losing their PlayStation for a day. Yeah, but it's more anger, not fear. They shouldn't be afraid. If they're afraid, you're doing it wrong. One of my favorite stories I think he was a little boy, about 7 years old, and the mom had taken something away from him. Oh, took the PlayStation away from him for 24 hours. Now, I'd already worked with her for a couple of weeks. Anyway, she told me this cute story. She says he didn't know I could hear him, but he got his PlayStation back after a whole 24 hours. He hadn't had it, or a Switch or whatever it was. He sits down with his controller in front of the monitor, and he said to himself, I won't be doing that again. Like, isn't that the cutest thing? He got that it was his fault he did that. Like, he got that he won't do that. He caused the fact that he lost it for 24 hours. And he didn't. He was great after that. Isn't that cute? Won't be doing that again. I love that. Oh, I would love ideas for artwork. I would just love it. I think it should be something softer, maybe a fabric, but I've got a lot of, my son bought me this pillow, Happiness is a Choice. My mother I adored my mother. And her favorite saying was, happiness is a choice, not a circumstance. Doesn't matter what cards you're dealt, it's how you deal with them in life. She had a really rough life, but she was the most cheery, positive, fun person to be around because she chose happiness. She goes, happiness is a choice. I thought, great. And my son just found that maybe a week or two ago and bought that for me. Isn't that cute? He found that. He says, I couldn't believe I saw that. So yeah, I love that. That was my mom. Happiness is a choice, Yeah, I remember when my dad died, I was 14 and we sobbed for 5 minutes when we got the news because he was dying in the hospital, cancer. So after the phone call, we cried for about 5 minutes. Then my mom, this is my mom, she straightens herself up and she says, oh, weren't we lucky to have him all those years? That was my mom. She was a joy-seeking missile. I have a blurb on my website about her. She died at 93 in a care home with dementia, but she always knew who we were, and she died in my arms. So lucky, lucky. But yeah, you can teach your kids that too. If they go down that woe is me lane, say, happiness is a choice, kiddo. Come on, what are you going to do about it? Problem solve with them. Don't go down the pity path with them. Unless it's something really bad, but you want your kids to be problem solvers. You want them to feel that they have more control over their life than they think they do sometimes. Like I used to tell my kids, look, if you're good, life is good. If you're bad, life ain't so good. I'll make sure of it because I'm your mom. In other words, you get back what you put out. I sort of believe in karma. There's some bad luck and good luck in this world too, but I still believe the only thing you can control is how you act and what you put out there. So it better be good because hopefully it'll come back at you, right? I wanted to raise very strong people, and I think both my kids are strong. They're both very hardworking and strong. Went out at playground, etc. My 3-year-old asked all the other parents for help, but not me. Why I'm laughing is I'm thinking, wow, that's great. You can just sit back and relax. Is that a problem? Yeah, I think it'd be great if my kids had done that. Phew, whew, boy, that's great. Yeah, you go help my kids. I'll just sit here and relax. My almost 6-year-old boy, very weepy and emotional lately. Normal phase? No, I would look into that. I would try and figure that out. Yep, I would. If you're not sure, I'd ask the teacher. I'd do play therapy with them. You can look it up. If you say, what's wrong? They're not going to answer you. But if you start playing and then you feed them, sort of questions a little bit around, a little bit sneakily, you might get some information out. But yeah, that's not normal. It could be normal, but it's not expected. You don't say, oh, they're going through an emotional weepy stage. We all have ups and downs, but if he's like, it's a long-term weeping, yeah, I would look into that. I'd want to figure that out. Now all I can think about is that horrible artwork behind me. When I get something in my mind, I'm pretty quick at taking action. I might just paint those over. I did paint them at one time, which was far worse than that. I do have old videos where they're painted. It was horrible. But yeah, I took down all the family photos just because of, just don't want that on here. Like you'll never see a picture of my granddaughter. Just because I don't think you should put that online. Now, it's only because I've got a big following. I don't talk to anyone on Facebook or anything anymore. I don't go on social media anymore. I don't know. Okay. How should we handle 4 and 8-year-old who are always way loud and our newborn is unable to sleep at all throughout the entire day? I feel like we're caught. Okay. Newborns can usually sleep through anything. Get a sound machine, put that in the newborn's room, and it'll block out the outside noise. It just does. They like that, and play it loud too. Look it up though, how you do that, because I've had clients where they said, oh, shoot, I forgot to shut the door to the nursery. It's the heartbeat sound, right? Loud. So yeah, it blocks out all external noise. Give that a go. Yeah, they usually say, I remember when my son was born and I had a nursing breastfeeding. He was a poor to latch on. Both my kids were. I had to use, what do they call that thing? I can't remember what it's called. Anyway, they were both very slow to latch on. Just their reflexes weren't strong. Anyway, so every single feed in Australia, this was a service that they had, was called a nursing nurse or something, a nursing aide. She came out to my house every 3 hours, and she didn't come in the middle of the night though, and she got me on this thing. But anyway, she came out, and what was my point with that? Oh yeah, my mom was visiting when she came out, because my mom came out the day my son was born from Canada to Australia. Just lucked out. I said, well, she goes, when should I arrive? And I said, well, first babies are never born on their due date. Of course, he was born right on his due date. So we didn't pick her up at the airport. Someone else had to. But anyway, she was there. Oh, my mom and I were very loud, like my daughter and I are. We talk a lot. We laugh a lot, and very loud. And the nurse was like, wow, he sleeps through that? And I said, well, he's right there, fast asleep, brand new baby. And my mom and I were loud and laughing. And so usually newborns can sleep through anything. I don't know why the newborn's waking up, because they would have heard those boys when they were inside you too. So I don't quite understand that. Get a sound machine though. And so you have the camera on the baby too. So God, I wish I'd had those baby cams when my kids were little. I can remember just trying to open up the door to see what was going on in there. They always caught me. When to sleep train? Well, this is baby stuff you're talking about, not bedtime battles. Bedtime battles is when they're older, like a toddler and that. But sleep training generally is trying to train a baby into sleeping through the night is the way I look at that term. So I'll just say I did that with both my kids at 10 months old because they were both getting up in the middle of the night to feed. They did not need it anymore. They just wanted the play and, they just wanted the cuddling. So I decided at 10 months with both of them, I sleep trained them. So it just took one night. And all I did was I put them in their bed. My daughter had actually been sleeping with us up until then, which I hate co-sleeping. Couldn't sleep properly because we were worried about rolling over on her. But anyway, what you go through. Eh? So what I did was I put them in their bed and I said, okay, good night. And then that was it. They slept for a few hours. In the middle of the night, I'd go in there and I didn't get them up. They'd be standing up on the side of the bed crying. And I said, I laid them back down, said, you're okay, patted them on the back. They still stood back up. I left the room, shut the door. And I sat there for one whole minute while they cried, and I cried into a pillow. It was agony, because I believe if a baby cries, I pick them up. I don't let babies cry, but I did just to sleep train. So then after 1 minute, I went in and I said, you're all right, and did that process. I think I went for 2 minutes, then 3 minutes. By the time I got to 5, they fell asleep. And it was just like one night with each kid. So then I'd sit outside for 2 minutes, then 3 minutes, then 4 minutes. It worked. Was torture. Way harder on me than them. Okay, you heard my alarm go. I got to get going. Sorry about all the distractions. I don't know what's going on with me. I was just distracted talking about my Australian stories and my artwork. Sorry about that. But anyway, that happens. I'm human. Okay, and you didn't pay for this, so there you go. Anyway, thanks so much for joining me. My name's Lisa. I'm a parenting coach. If you go on my website, it's BratBusters. Oh God, I got it 7 o'clock. I got to get going. Anyway, it's BratBusters.com. And you can see my free behavior board, my courses. I have one for toddlers, one for older kids. You can look into coaching. I've got a big wait list, but I'll get to you eventually. Or you can listen to my podcast. It's called BratBusters Parenting Podcast. It's on all the platforms, and we save it on YouTube if you want to watch us do it, my daughter and I. Anyway, thanks so much for joining me. Happy parenting.